Hello and welcome to Gravitas Plus. I'm Palki Sharma Upadhyay. The great war on terror is coming to an end, not by defeating the enemy, but by retreating from the battlefield. The United States of America, the country that started this war, is abandoning its bases in the dead of night. It's exiting the war, putting the onus on Afghanistan's neighbours to clear its mess. In 2001, America invaded Afghanistan with this promise.
And now, the Taliban will pay a price. By destroying camps and disrupting communications, we will make it more difficult for the terror network to train new recruits and coordinate their evil plans.
20 years on, it has nothing to show for this sorry adventure and doesn't even want to discuss it.
I want to talk about happy things, man. I'm not going to answer any more questions on Afghanistan.
For the Afghans, the list of happy things is shrinking by the day. The Taliban is growing stronger, capturing land with virtually no resistance, undoing decades of progress in a matter of days. Look at this map. On the 13th of April, a day before America started its withdrawal, this is what Afghanistan looked like. The areas in grey were in government control. The Taliban was limited to the hinterlands. By the 13th of May, the map changed to this. By the 13th of June, it changed to this. And on the 13th of July, it looked like this. These are some dramatic gains. In 3 months, the Taliban have taken more than 80 districts. So much for America crippling their network. If anything, the Taliban is stronger today. This is a new generation of terrorists, not the ones we saw in action in the 1990s. Today's Taliban has more than 85,000 full-time fighters. They come from younger and radical cadres. The size of the Afghan army is twice that of the Taliban, and yet their losses are mounting. In many parts of the country, Afghan troops are surrendering their weapons, abandoning important checkposts, running away without putting up a fight, and embracing the Taliban as a legitimate force. 6 months. That's all it will take for the Afghan government to fall unless a power-sharing deal is reached. And I'm not the one saying this. America's own intel assessments are. If these assessments turn out to be true, in 6 months, we could have a terror outfit running a country, controlling its resources, its politics, and its borders. It's a security disaster in the making, not just for Afghanistan, but also for its neighbours. Pakistan and China may see an opportunity in the Talibans' rise, but for India, this is serious. First of all, there's a risk to India's financial interests and investments. It has invested more than $3 billion in Afghanistan, facilitating more than 400 projects in all 34 provinces. This includes dams, schools, hospitals. Some of these installations are already being captured. Then there's a threat to Indians living and working in Afghanistan. They're being brought to safety. India had 4 consulates in Afghanistan. In March, the one in Jalalabad was temporarily shut. In April, the consulate in Herat was shut, and last week, India evacuated staff from Kandahar. The consulate has not been shut, local staff is still there, plus India has an embassy in Kabul. It has warned Indian nationals that they are not exceptions in the escalating violence and face a serious threat of kidnapping. This was on the 29th of June. On the 16th of July, an Indian journalist was killed. He was on a reporting assignment in Kandahar. Things are taking a dangerous turn. And the worries for India are not limited to what happens inside Afghanistan. It has a direct bearing on India's security. Look at this map now. This is India with China in the north, a perpetual bully intent on breaching borders, and Pakistan in the west, a perpetual nuisance intent on destabilizing Kashmir. Now add a Taliban-run Afghanistan to this equation and India will become the front line against terror and expansionism. It's not a question of if, but when. An alliance of China, Pakistan and the Taliban is not a far-fetched scenario. Pakistan and China are partners in crime, and every stakeholder involved in Afghanistan knows that the Taliban functions with the blessing of Pakistan's deep state, operating from the cantonments of Quetta and Peshawar. America lost the war because of Pakistan's duplicity, and it is Pakistan that is helping the Taliban take control now. The Vice President of Afghanistan has said this on record, that the Taliban forces are being trained by the Pakistan military and directed from Quetta and Peshawar. He also said that the Pakistan Air Force is providing close air support to the Taliban in certain areas. And why just Afghan lawmakers? Pakistani politicians themselves have accepted the fact in their country's parliament.
कि हमारी रियासत को इतने ही ये लोग पसंद हैं तो ये हमारी अपनी रियासत भी उनके हवाले क्यों नहीं करते? अगर इतनी हमें ये लोग पसंद हैं और वो हम इतना उनको ग्लोरीफाई करने की कोशिश करते हैं कि भाई वो इतने अच्छे लोग हैं, वो तो इतने ज़हीन लोग हैं, जिस तरह हमारे वजीर खारजा साहब के स्टेटमेंट है, तो ये हमारी अपनी हुकूमत भी उनके हवाले कर दे.
Pakistan and Taliban. It's a cruel rhyme with a shady history and many lessons. The most important chapter is Kashmir. The Taliban has always acted as a force multiplier for Pakistan on Kashmir. This love affair has now been reignited. Extremists in Pakistan are celebrating the Taliban's return. Last week, there was a rally in Quetta in support of the Taliban. Pro-Taliban slogans were raised. Some even brought flags of the Islamic Caliphate. There's also been a surge in fundraising for the Taliban, donations increasing in Balochistan, with shopkeepers and local bazaars willing to spend as much as 10,000 rupees each. And then we have reports that Pak terror groups are joining forces with the Taliban. Which groups? The usual suspects: Lashkar-e-Toiba, Jaish-e-Mohammed, Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, Lashkar-e-Jangvi, to name a few. They're being hired as advisors, commanders, administrators. What's common between all these terror groups? They all want Kashmir. I don't even need to tell you how far they're willing to go for this. So let's focus on the likely security ramifications for India. Number one, with the Taliban gaining strength, there will definitely be a rise in religious nationalism, pan-Islamism and jihad. And this will raise hopes and boost the morale of several terror outfits operating along Kashmir. They will seize every opportunity to infiltrate the border. Second, with the increasing penetration of social media and the recent restoration of 4G services, it would be naive to believe that the Taliban's propaganda, its glorified stories of ambushes and missions, will not find their way to Kashmir. And now we know that weapons invariably follow propaganda, and that is a third concern. These are the weapons being used by the Taliban: American-made sniper rifles, handheld radars, and camera-equipped drones. Should these weapons find their way into Jammu and Kashmir, the situation could be explosive. And the last major concern, internationalizing Kashmir. That's something they will try to do. The Taliban is now being seen and treated as a legitimate stakeholder in Afghanistan. They have diplomatic relations with the international community. They even have a diplomatic office based in Qatar, which was used to strike the peace deal that brought no peace. The Taliban's position will be leveraged by Pakistan. If one terror group can be legitimized, what's stopping the others from vying for the same? The challenge is real. The question is, what can India do? What are India's options? India is hoping that a dialogue will deliver. Talks may already be underway, and I say may because despite all indications, the government of India has not confirmed that it is talking with the Taliban. In September 2020, the Foreign Ministry signalled the interest for the first time. The Indian Foreign Minister participated in the intra-Afghan peace talks. And now there are reports that Indian security officials have opened channels of communication with some Taliban factions. These are factions said to be nationalist and outside the sphere of influence of Pakistan. Second, on a military level, India will have to strengthen the existing security mechanisms, especially its security shield in Jammu and Kashmir. It will have to make the most of new technologies like drones, which are transforming modern warfare. The Taliban has them. Pakistan has them. India too will have to explore modern technology. Third, on a societal level, India will need to strengthen its ability to handle terror in urban areas, into new avenues and environments where the Taliban's ideology might flourish. On a political level, India will have to keep a check on separatist leaders willing to ride the Pakistan boat and on extremists looking to create trouble. India will have to make some diplomatic moves as well, which is already being done. Talk to stakeholders, talk to regional partners to rein in the Taliban. The bottom line is this: a resurgent Taliban is now a reality in Afghanistan, a reality that is here to stay for the foreseeable future. It will have to be dealt with at every level, but we must remember the Taliban at the end of the day is still a terror outfit more than anything else. It has survived a superpower for 2 decades with the help of a terror state. The superpower then gave them a seat at the talking table. Afghanistan today is the result of a series of blunders and deceits. Unfortunately for India, this is the card it has been dealt.